rid of that. All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Can I get a motion on the minutes?
Motion to approve minutes.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Keith?
Aye.
You're up.
Okay, good morning. Not a whole lot to report. Our fund balance is 16,239,000, of which 10,199 was FAD money. And we had FAD expenditures this month of $119,930. The update is really that I've already spoken with the auditors. Okay. And they will be doing their on-site audit here Tuesday and Wednesday, March 8th and 9th, with the plan for the presentation at the March 24th meeting. And they'll have the audit completed so that we can submit the required reports to the DEP and the New York State ABO by end of the month.
Very good.
And that's pretty much it.
Okay, who wants to do the reporting and filing dates? Linda?
Yep, that will be me. So we got quite a few more of the ABO compliance parts in, as you can see from the screen. There are a few more. Jamie McGlasson did reach out to me this morning and asked for the link. So I sent that to her and she is scheduling herself for March 9th. So that's another one that we'll have taken care of.
Great.
So that's pretty much it. On the first page, we're up to date on all of the reporting and filing requirements at this point. And that's it.
What I see. They're after they're in reverse order. Gotcha. So if I could just ask Linda, who did you contact that hasn't done the things like the board member training?
So everyone that you see that has a color next to their name,
Yeah.
I have reached out to them. I reach out to them once a month. And as a reminder, and include the attachments and the link so that they can.
Your speaker's being picked up by Corey, so somebody has to. Corey, could you go on mute because it's reverbing? Thank you. I'm sorry, Linda.
That's okay. Oh, that's better. Okay. So anyone that has a color next to their name on this chart, I've contacted, and I do that regularly. As long as they haven't completed the requirements, I do that monthly. And some reach out and some do complete them and send me, you know, whatever I need. But we did maybe get, I would say maybe 4 or 5 since last month.
So Matt, it looks like Dan Garcia has to do some stuff.
And CRC, yeah, Kevin reached out to him today to make sure that he knew that he needed to get some stuff done. So I'll follow up with him.
And has Richard Becker and Lisa Katz from Cortland and Newcastle gotten back to you?
I
That's a
have
good year,
contacted
Ron.
them. Yep.
Yeah, I can reach out to Lisa again. I've done it before. She's not responsive, so.
And I'll get after Supervisor Schmidt.
Thank you.
All right, that would be great if everybody, if you know somebody on the list, kind of reach out, touch base with them, see if you can encourage them on, and hopefully we can get all these people into compliance.
Linda, is there a different meaning in the different colors?
Yes, so they correspond to what's on the front here. So those are the acknowledgement for the fiduciary duty. So they correspond to what's on the front of the sheet, basically. So it's calling your attention to what's on the back and who has
Okay.
not completed various pieces.
And you have sent everybody who hasn't completed kind of links and things that they need
Yes,
to do that.
I do that regularly, maybe like the second week of the month. So just
Okay.
give them enough time. I know everyone's busy, but just.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
give them
but
a-
rather than forwarding it again, please fill it out.
Right, right,
Thank you.
sure.
Okay, moving on to project updates, Kevin?
Yep. So we recently submitted a new group of approvals to New York State DEC, bringing our program total up to just shy of 648 kilograms. Within the next month or two, we expect to submit for probably an additional 30 kilograms of projects as the catch basin inserts get into the ground and installed. We've got a few of those out. As you all may recall, we had a few installation agreements, purchase orders from last meeting, I believe it was, and those will go in over the next month or two, and we'll keep chipping away and increasing our total. There are, let's see, Scopino Park is in the tail end of construction in the town of Southeast, and we're looking forward to finishing that one up shortly. And we'll be going out to bid on a few design projects to keep moving ahead with the total. And if you recall, there was a few during the summer, we had brought up the idea of a few bioinfiltration projects that could be addressed right around lake communities and within the watershed to try to take advantage of those very narrow easement areas that a lot of municipalities have, where the municipal discharge goes right into the lakes. We've highlighted a few of those that we're going to get out to bid on in the upcoming months, and we think they could be great projects. We're looking forward to those and moving forward with those. Currently, there's a lot of private property installations that we're trying to navigate and get through, and we'll continue working with council to push those ahead. But as you know, a lot of those property owners push back as hard as they can. So we'll keep advancing those and getting to our total. There are no other particular updates, but as I said, within the next few months, we'll have some additional catch basin insert purchase orders for review, and along with those, the installation agreements to follow. As you guys might see, this is a different layout and different presentation of the data for you all. We migrated all of our projects into Access rather than Excel. This gives us a better grasp on all the data that's out there. And over the years, we had probably 6 or 7 spreadsheets that started piling up. And this will help us streamline some of the reporting for all of you. And we'll clean this up as we go. If there's any additions that you guys like to see to these project status tables as we go forward, just give us a heads up and we'll work with you.
Kevin, I just wanted to say that I love the new format. I think it's great. But now I'm curious, who's running the Access program?
Corey.
And
I'm going to get smart on it myself, but he did a lot of the.
It's a great program. Unfortunately, Excel has gotten so robust over the years that nobody's using Access anymore.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, with this, we can, we can come up with a lot of the reports that we need really quickly and export to Excel as needed. So far, I haven't had any issues, so we'll keep chugging away.
Yeah, this allows you to do much more intricate joins across, what you consider Excel files. So.
Yeah, and it's easily importable into any kind of asset management databases if you're ever going to create them, or they could be created into its own asset management database.
Agreed.
Yeah.
More people should use it.
Yes, no, I agree. Okay, O&M updates, if I remember the agenda, because I just lost it.
We recently sent out notices to all municipalities to let them know whether or not they will be owing or should be receiving funds from this next O&M cycle. That was one of the best reasons for getting over to Access, was incorporating our O&M database over into this one sheet, so we can get a good grasp and perform a little bit of a better audit on all the individual projects that we have out there, to get a better idea of what needs to be done, what hasn't been done, maybe projects that are overdue for attention. And possibly we have to maybe look at a little bit harder for why those bills are coming in as they are. But that'll be a year-long process as we get into it. But of course, the highlight of the updated certainly is getting those O&M bills accounted for and represented so that we can get the payments out to you all. That'll be due in I think in May and June is usually when we circle that on the calendar.
And just to add, all of the confirmation letters were sent out with the invoices so that if everyone who's got a confirmation letter could sign it and send it back to our auditors, that'll help them get the audit done.
Good to know. Great. Okay, I think we're down to other business. Anybody have any other business?
Were we gonna talk about the MS4 stuff at all?
Nah, what's going on with the MS4 stuff? So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the draft general permit for MS4s. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to have a Zoom meeting with representatives from 16 different stormwater coalitions and the New York State DOT. It was a very long meeting, but very informative. A lot of great technical expertise on the Zoom meeting. The general consensus of everybody across the board is that the general permit requirements are excessive. They're not really going to affect stormwater quality in a number of different areas. And that the whole permit is setting everybody up for failure because it's just not really, it places too many requirements on everybody. There are a lot of things in the permit with regards to training, with regards to public education that we're going to have to meet. There are things in the permit such as you're not going to be able to pave roads anymore except in dry weather conditions, and dry weather conditions is defined as the non-growing periods of the year. You're not going to pave roads in the winter. It's just absurd.
Well, I think you wouldn't even get the time from, I mean, they're working 9 months a year almost. So
Yeah.
They wouldn't even be able to get the work done.
Yep. You're not going to be allowed to discharge the water coming out of the catch basins into any of the waters of the state of New York. That essentially means you're going to have to bring them back to the yard and pump them into the ground. We've talked a little bit about truck washing. The one issue that I would like an action on today is everybody felt that there really wasn't enough time to do an adequate review on the permit. So all the members of the stormwater coalitions that I met with are all looking to put a letter in to the DEC requesting that we push the date back for comments to, I believe it was April 15th.
Yeah.
And I'd like approval for the board for me to send a letter on behalf of the corporation.
Yes.
Motion.
Seconded,
Favor?
yes.
Yes.
All right.
There are a lot of other little things in here too, about stormwater and what we had to do in terms of tracking things and writing things down. There were even things, any place where waterfowl congregate, we have to, minimize all the runoff from their excrement and stuff. I don't even know what that means, right?
It's called geese culling.
I understand. Well, there's different ways, right? But yeah, I mean, there's all that type of stuff that's just going to cause us a lot of extra angst.
And money.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And, they're requiring us to do street sweeping twice a year. The studies out there, have shown that, street sweeping isn't really going to be, reduce a lot of the pollutants that we're concerned with.
And they did have it they did have it more times, but somebody finally suggested doing it in the wintertime is not much of value. So it's twice between April and October or whatever the dates are now, right? We don't own a street sweeping machine, so.
So it was interesting to hear from the DOT who said that when they saw the permit requirements, they immediately reached out to their vendors to find out what would be involved in getting enough street sweepers, because they don't have the street sweepers they need, for purchasing more street sweepers. And they were told by the vendors that, there is a lack of street sweepers out there right now, and they wouldn't be able to get the street sweepers they needed to comply with the permit within the term of the permit. So, Kevin, have you had a chance to take a look at that section of the permit that has to do with the corporation and making the submissions?
Sorry, to maximize again. Yes, I did. And I know from whether or not the DEC is going to change their perspective on it themselves, the people that we work with up there, they've been very, I don't know, lenient isn't the word I want to use, but cooperative when it comes to these items, where they've asked us, in fact, not to give them a pile of things at the end of a calendar year for review. They've asked us as they come in we'll address projects as they're available. So it's not a matter of sending everything up in December to have a construction season ready for the following year. It's, hey, this is ready to go. Can you review this? Great. We of course are still looking forward to the requirements, specifically the additional document that's been alluded to for phosphorus reduction for all of us. But yeah, it's to give that many updates to the DEC. I feel like we're kind of getting roped into some other folks that are maybe lagging behind, that aren't giving them enough updates on a regular basis. As it is, we already have a pretty good working relationship with the folks that are reviewing the program for us. But from our perspective, if they're going to hold us to the letter of what's written, we'll do it. But it's just that extra push to get that stuff done.
Yeah, just keep in the back of your mind that, if this permit gets implemented, it's enforceable not only by the DEC, but, pretty much anybody can,
Sure.
file a challenge. So we still should be pushing back on those permit requirements that affect the corporation. Even though the DEC has been very reasonable with us and has been, we've got a great working relationship with Tom Snow and some of the others. The fact that it's in the permit, we need to put in comments on that.
Sure.
But Rich, I've gone through half of it, and I said I read it, but I really went through half of it, and then I went through that other shorter document that I forget what it's called, the fact sheet, I think.
The fact sheet.
You're probably one of the few people on the call. I'm sure there's others, Sabrina maybe, and maybe Chris read the whole thing. I don't know. So I don't know how many people out there are actually going to, on their own, come back and push back at all. And it would be nice to have some of the other municipalities do that on an individual basis. I don't know how we get people to read it or understand what the impacts are. A lot of these, I mentioned the thing with the geese. It's a stupid little thing, but now we're responsible for any of their excrement getting in any of the MS4 waters. And it's going to cost us all money. And that's just a little stupid thing. Last time we went through this a number of years ago, a lot of you were here. The average cost per municipality was $500,000 a year. And we all did it independently and came up with the numbers, slightly different methodologies. The lowest was 350 to 750. But we're all in that. For me, it was 519 because I had to hire additional people. Just the things we have to do here for the stormwater and siding stuff, that's going to take somebody a lot more time. And, I don't know how we get everybody else to understand that this impacts them. I think a lot of them just decided or figured maybe East of Hudson deals with this. I don't know.
So Lauren, I had done a spreadsheet. I sent it down to you. Did you get that?
But I did not look at it yet. I'm kind of on vacation this week, but
I was hoping you were going to tear it apart and tell me where I was wrong. So I did a spreadsheet similar to what I did the last time. And there's a little bit better news, but I'm estimating it's going to cost the town of Patterson about $275,000 a year to comply with this permit.
Rich, can you share that? Can you share that spreadsheet?
I will.
Yeah, like you did last time, Rich?
Yep, I'll send it out after the meeting. Like I said, I was
Yeah.
hoping that Warren was going to get it and tear it up and tell me where I was wrong.
What do the comments do, by the way? What
Well,
were the original set of comments do? I thought it was like March 7th, or did we miss
Yeah.
the deadline?
it got moved to March 7th. Yes.
Right. All right, so my goal, as I swore last time, was to look at this like I did last time. I will have that done by early next week. And you'll have the same, probably, I don't think I have to move much from my original set of comments. It's just a matter of editing them accordingly to the new words. But it's
Yeah.
gonna be the same crap. But Rich, you made a comment before regarding that others can put, you said it could be brought about by anybody for the corporation. Is that, it can
So,
violations?
So, yeah, so as I'm sure you're aware, Rich, the river keeper, doesn't feel that we're, meeting the permit requirements, they can, take us to court under the permit.
Individually or the East Hudson Corporation?
Well, they could do individual municipalities or they could do the corporation,
Yep.
and, the way the permit is written, a lot of these documents now have to be completely available and open to the public. There was some concern about all the mapping we're doing and some of the other documents we're doing, have to be up on our websites.
Yep, okay. There's
So,
more grief.
oh yeah,
So I guess, we've done this before. We've submitted the letters, we've managed to detain them, and here they are again. And it seems as if, they're really listening to the environmental contingent, who are pushing for this. How can we make inroads here?
well, I think the first step is going to be, submitting comments on it, but,
Yeah, but we did it last time too. And,
recognize that
But it changed. A lot of the stuff came out, and that was 2017, I think. So
yeah,
they've been back working on this for a number of years.
it's still onerous.
yeah, but I think the comments are going to form the basis of any actions we're going to take moving forward. If they implement the permit, then the consideration is, well, do we push back legally?
Yes, put an adjudicatory hearing in. They won't speak to us for 10 years because they're so backlogged. I mean, come on. Ask for an adjudicatory hearing. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah. But I will say, if we're gonna go down that road, then it's probably not the corporation that's gonna go down that road. It's going to be, the individual municipalities or possibly the I'm trying to think, the coalition.
Warren, are we discussing this with the NWWC tomorrow? Do you know?
You
I
will
will.
now.
I guess we can. I didn't even, I hate to say it, but I didn't even know we had a meeting tomorrow with the NWWC.
Well, I haven't received any information, but I have it on my calendar as a Zoom
Well, I had it
meeting.
on my calendar, yeah, but nobody sent me any invite or anything. I had talked to Millie about it quite a while ago. I don't know if she's on. She had brought it up. Yeah. So the answer is, I didn't know there was a meeting, but it would obviously be something that would be critically important, I think.
Yeah.
Of course, most of the members are all involved in this organization, so I think
Yeah.
all we can do is tell them that everybody should look at the sheet you put together, Rich, is pretty impressive. And I think it points everybody at least to the things that they're going to be most concerned about in the document. They can look at it themselves and figure out if it's going to cost 1,400 or 5,000. But, just like we did with the TOD and the ADU legislation, I think we need to probably get everybody to put something in and say, look, this is, get to our legislators and get to the DEC and say, look, this is going to cost us this much money, which is, and equate it back to the taxes. For me, it's, if Rich's numbers are true, it's 5% tax increase.
Yeah. And, I'll share the spreadsheet. So you can take that spreadsheet. It lists all the requirements. I think I got them all in there, and put your own numbers on them and see where you come up.
Okay. Thank you for that, Rich. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Well, that was why I was asking the question. You sent that to me, I guess, the 22nd, and I did not notice. But I already sent it to Sabrina and Rich, seeing as they were very excited to get it and start commenting.
Well, I've
Thank you,
tweaked it a
Warren.
little bit since I sent it to you. So
Well,
let me,
well, listen, it is about, here's the thing, I'm working with with a new town board, right? They don't have the history. They don't have the understanding. So anything to help get it further along in the process to get a letter out, I think is crucial.
sure.
Well, first thing is, I think to get it to the 15th, which I can't imagine they're going to say no about, but they always could. And because I think their comment originally was, this thing really hasn't, we've taken all the items out you didn't like. And so there should be nothing wrong with this. I think that was their first comment. Or maybe, Rich, did they tell you they really weren't interested in having anybody's comments or reading them or something like that?
Well,
So maybe
no,
they-
listen, they haven't talked to me at all.
Well, and that's my concern is that the last message just came through, right? Warren, I think you said you met with them and they said that they took everything we didn't like out of it. And then they put this out for comment again. And what you said didn't lead me to believe that they were really going to take any of our next round of comments into consideration.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah,
was
the Zoom meeting that took place on,
when I say
it might
Rich,
have
I'm
been 2
saying,
months
I meant
ago.
Francetti.
That
He was
at
one
that
of the-
that Zoom meeting and that presentation, they made it seem kind of clear that they did what they could for the comments that came in, but they didn't really show much intention on bending any further.
Which
that
is
was my
insane
take.
because well, then that's my concern.
Right, Kevin's right. They basically said pencils are down and we're done.
Okay, so you're going to send them a letter saying, please move it out. I assume all the other organizations are going to do that, which will give us a month and a half to.
To us and
If they don't,
actually,
we have 2
date that.
weeks.
but I wouldn't count that they're going to do that. March 7th is right around the corner.
Does this affect any of the towns or municipalities that are not in the watershed?
It affects every town that's been designated an MS4. So there are
Yeah,
towns,
all of Westchester
yeah,
or most of Westchester.
Okay. So,
13 towns in Dutchess County. Too, it affects.
okay, well,
So maybe we
get
need
the-
to bump this up. The county's not on here today, are they?
Yes. I'm on.
Oh, okay.
no, that's Putnam County, right?
Yeah,
Vince?
I'm talking about Westchester. Westchester County
Oh.
isn't here.
Well,
We
maybe
assume
it would be a
Putnam
good
County's-
idea maybe it would be a good idea to get the executives to send a letter as well.
Yes, that's what I'm
It affects
thinking.
all of Putnam County.
Hey, could I ask Mike Meyer? Mike, I don't know if you're listening to us or doing other things, but regarding the MS4 stuff, what's the DEP's position on this? Are you like just 100% behind it, or are you just quiet about it, or does it give you a lot of extra work also?
Well, yeah, good morning. The city is an MS4, not only in the watershed, but also in the city. So we're also going through the permit itself and trying to figure out how this affects, the 5 boroughs as well as things that are going on upstate. So there are definitely elements of the permit that we probably have some reservations on, but we're still going through it.
Yeah, so it would be great. It sounds like, Rich, you met with you said a bunch of other watershed organizations. I don't know who they were. I'm assuming West of Hudson, maybe.
well, no, the coalitions stretch from Western New York all the way down to Long Island. I'll send you the
Okay.
list, and I'll send you some of their concerns about the permit.
So it sounds like everybody's going to be requesting April 15th, according to the email I saw from you. Mike, would you guys consider doing the same? Requesting a review out to the 15th of April?
I will definitely send it along. There's a group of attorneys and engineers in the city that are doing this, and I'll put that in there that maybe we could ask for additional time. So
Yeah, I think the more
probably
in it,
welcome.
yeah, the more the merrier in that, I think.
Yeah, I think DEC did do one extension already, but it was only like 2 weeks or something like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
And always in the past, they would give us 90 days. They're not giving us 90 days this time.
Yeah, I think for our element in the watershed, it's hard to get a clear sense of the impacts without a corresponding TMDL implementation plan, since that's the plan that
Well,
sort
that's
of indicates
coming
what the
out
target-
next.
But it's hard to review the permit without that, because it's, you know, that's the requirement. And so it's hard to do them separately, but
Yeah, so Tom Snow did tell me that that was in draft about a month ago. They were reviewing the final draft of that. So I don't know why they wouldn't put it out at the same time. Maybe they learned.
So my take right now is that they're relying on the former implementation plan. It was done in 2009. That's what the permit is linked to. That was my take on it.
yeah, but that permit only has a 10-year requirement on retrofit. So are they good? Does that mean that they're going to continue that, or without a TMDL implementation plan, there's technically no retrofit obligation? So.
No, my take on it was they were going to take that 10-year obligation from the first permit, the 2008 permit, and just extend that out.
And they may do that, but until they actually put it out there, there is no obligation. So.
Well, no, that's what was in the permit.
Right, but the permit
So-
references the 2007 implementation plan, which only has a 10-year requirement for retrofits.
And so this is what Tom Snow sent me on January 14th. I asked him for something specific, but he said, you're probably looking at the general permit. He said, if so, the MS4 permit only includes the proposed phosphorus reduction requirements that must be achieved in a separate document known as the draft EOHTMDL implementation plan, which is going through internal review. It will include specific project recommendations in East Hudson water that can be undertaken to reduce phosphorus. I don't know if that's what we're talking about here. Yeah, I don't know if that's the document, the other part of that, Mike, or he's alluding to the fact that the draft permit also only includes the proposed phosphorus reduction requirements that must be achieved. I don't see any mention of kilograms at all in this thing. Did I miss something? Was there any mention of kilograms in this? I don't.
The
I don't think so.
implementation plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, in the original plan, you go, once you dive into that, you'll see a few tables that'll tell you all the kilograms that had to be reduced in each reservoir per municipality, and then the requirement for the retrofit program itself that added up to the 920.
No, you're talking about the 2009 one. I'm talking about in the thing we're reviewing now.
Oh,
Correct.
no.
Well, in that one, yes, there's no mention of this is your total, this is your goal. It's just keep doing what we told you to do in 2009.
So instead of just saying we want to go out to April 14th, can we say, look, we have this piece, we don't have the other piece that gives us any of the goals. So we're not even sure what we're supposed to be doing on some of this. Can we please get that document, have time to review it? And maybe it's after April 15th. Does that make sense? I think what we're suggesting is we need a little more time, and maybe we need to see all the documents that we haven't quite seen yet. Well, I can definitely let all the supervisors know. I can ask them to get on a call. And
Yeah, I think that that's important, is we need to have more communication with the different towns, because Rich, as we've been talking, I've been scanning your spreadsheet, and, what is frightening is that they're doing interim timeframes for reporting and deadlines of the mapping and things on a yearly basis, more than a yearly basis. In addition to the annual report, they want 2 interim reports. This is so paper heavy. And it is, what are they expecting those reports to look like? Is it an email document? There's a lot of miscellaneous questions, not to mention the actual physical improvements they're looking for us to make.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important that each town, and they should bring their DPW commissioner, and we should kind of go through this, because if I send this to my town board without explanation, they're going to go, what is this?
Sure. The bizarre part, the feeling was that they're looking for 2 interim reports, but the June interim report was a whole separate report that we have to do while doing the annual report at the same time.
Right. And here's the thing, their annual report stinks. right? The report form
Yeah.
that we're supposed to fill out, like, why not amend that to make it more meaningful for what they're looking for? You know, so there's a host of areas that I think, one, I think we have I feel a responsibility to educate my municipality because they have no clue about any of this, right? And I would assume many of the other municipalities are in that same situation, right? A lot of us have been in this fight for a while, since before they did the MS4 permit. So we're pretty well versed in what they're looking for. But, you know, there's a lot of new faces and you know, new leaders who have no clue about this. In addition, I think that each municipality is a little bit differently situated. You know, we have two street sweepers. Are they running them when DEC wants us to run them? Probably not. Right? Are we, you know, right now I get an estimate of how much is collected for that annual report every year, but it's like pulling teeth. And so I think that there's much more education and discussion that has to happen internally in each municipality to really get a handle on what's being asked for and whether or not, you know, this is something that's feasible.
Agreed.
The problem is we have what? It's a week from Monday to coordinate so much.
Right.
Rich, if you're going to write a letter immediately, at least we could maybe get some attention. If we get that letter and then have the executive Westchester and in Putnam and in Dutchess all send something up saying, hey, wait a minute, guys, we need to talk through this. You know, maybe that's something that we could do in the short compressed times that we have.
Yep, understood.
Well, we can
Yeah,
get
I'll
all the
get
towns.
my letter out beginning of next week for sure.
Would you just copy me on it and I'll have Mary Ellen do something similar?
Yep, I'll copy everybody.
Great. One of the things that we're thinking of doing, and maybe we should do it, I should try to do this sooner rather than later. I picked up another hat here in Putnam County. I'm district director for the Soil and Water Conservation Districts. And we're thinking of doing the MS4 training that needs to be the certification training for, you know, a lot of the highway departments need to, I think most highway people did it about 3 years ago. So it's time again to do it. Maybe we should make this a bigger thing and do the certification training, but maybe also an education about where this stuff is. Do it as a joint thing with maybe east of Hudson and maybe Westchester County and Soil and Water Conservation District and Putnam County Soil and Water Conservation District. I don't know. What do you think about that?
So I will tell you, on the call yesterday were a number of people from soil and water districts, and what I learned yesterday is most soil and water districts have been working with DEC to develop the training modules that are going to be required out of this. So you might want to check in with your fellow soil and water district people.
Yeah, no, that's.
But yeah, I mean,
I'm going to bring Ulster down to do the MS4 training for us.
Right.
I'm not saying that they're against it or for it. What I'm saying is, do we want to do, and what does MS4 mean today? And what are all these new heightened restrictions, and what does that do for you all? And do a broader training. If I'm going to just do the certification, maybe we should do something bigger.
So to touch on the training, just so everybody's aware, you have to have a stormwater manager running the program. They have to have DEC training or DEC endorsed training. All your inspectors have to be trained. All your personnel have to be trained when they're out there on the streets. I mean, it goes so far as to imply that you need to have the people picking up the garbage trained on what it means.
Well, and what comes to mind when I read that was my entire DPW needs to be trained according to DEC.
Yes. Yes.
Period.
And so
throw in the engineering division and the water division and anybody else, the building inspector, anyone else who is on the out there on the streets.
Yes. And the problem becomes, you know, requiring this training. If you change personnel, if somebody leaves and you hire somebody new, they have to be trained, and they have to be trained before they can do their job. So, Vinny, to answer your question, I think one of the things we need to push back on is if they're going to require this training, It has to be free to municipalities. It has to be online, and it has to be continuous, so somebody can go online and get the training they need. And we're not sitting there with an employee that can't do anything for 2 months, because he hasn't been trained.
Okay. Got it. I understand.
All right, any other questions or discussion?
You're gonna send your spreadsheet around to everybody, the latest updates?
Yes, gonna do that. Gonna send the list of coalition members that I met with and their concerns.
Who's the person that has to decide that this is the 14th, or rather, April 15th?
Well, I can send around the contact person if you want that.
I mean, it's not Tom Snow, but it's somebody, it's not Ken.
No, it's
Kaczynski.
Glenn Sullivan, I think.
Ethan Sullivan.
Ethan.
I have your letter that you sent the other day.
Does anybody know who he is?
Nope.
No, okay.
That's bad. That we don't know him.
Well, he might just be an analyst or something, that everything's going back to him, so. Does Ken Kaczynski own this anymore? Is he still around?
He is still around. He is involved in this. I don't know how much of this he owns.
Okay. Well, as soon as you send me that document, that spreadsheet, I'm gonna, rather than sending your draft one out, I'm going to send that out to all the supervisors and try to get a meeting for beginning of next week, maybe Monday. And just kind of explain, this is, I'll say it in the email, but this is kind of where we are. I sent everything out to them in January 13th, but I don't think they were all aware of the implications.
Okay. All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right, everybody have a wonderful time, a wonderful day, and hope the storm doesn't hit us as like they're talking about.
Bye-bye.
I'm in for that.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.